Hello, welcome back to my Pyanodons challenge series for episode 10. During the last episode, I built this massive iron mining and smelting setup. Almost a gross of miners, just three more, and the fact that that is odd slightly troubles me because it means that maybe I have made a mistake somewhere. Well, future me will work on fixing that. So for today's episode, I wish I could tell you that I had a grand plan for episode 10, but in fact, I have a bunch of little plans that will hopefully come together to move us much closer to making automation science at scale. However, as is now going to be traditional for this channel, I'm going to run around and do a bunch of fixes. I mean, improvements to my current setup in minutia, and I'll let voiceover me tell you about them because current me might not even know what all of them are. See you in a little bit. So for today's Fix It episode, I need to do quite a few little things. There's a couple of inserters missing on my iron processing, not quite enough coal going through the last little bit. I want to fix my and this is what I do at the start. I move my ash processing up because later on I will want to interact with those ash lines, and you'll see why toward the end of the episode. I fix my coal dust boiler setup because it was kind of lazy. I had to push the ash to an existing place that it shouldn't be pushed to, and so I just needed to set up a little bit more ash. And it was also not ideal because coal dust has a little bit more energy than raw coal does, so I can't use the exact same build. Finally, there's a couple of things to fix in my main base. There was a valve that was not set correctly, and my coal dust was taking coal dust and putting it into the ash belt, which is obviously no, so things were backing up there. Also, at various points through the episode, I go through and fix the fact that steel is running me out of iron ore inside of the starter patch, which could be a serious concern later on, since I'm kind of depending on that iron patch for my infrastructure. That said, later on, hopefully I will not have to do that. Anyway, back to the main episode. Okay, so that wraps up the fixing the base portion of the episode. Next, I want to set up, let's see, I think I'm going to set up a tree farm. So I have a new nice little tree-based design that I want to put someplace where I've got enough space for it, which seems like it might be further out. This is a fairly chunky design, so I'm gonna see if I've got room over here on the left. Maybe I'll just walk and talk. The automation science requires a significant portion of wood to operate. I think, yep, I've got ore patches everywhere. So find a good spot. Like, I certainly will not need all these ore patches, especially things like chromium and nickel will be in plentiful supply, even for somebody who is playing at this ridiculous modifier. Because, well, frankly, by the time I get to the point where I need masses of it for any sort of science, it's going to be so late game that hopefully I've got base trains spread out everywhere. That said, I don't necessarily want to just cover up a patch that might be hard to find in the future, and I haven't explored everywhere, so I don't know what I have readily available. It'd be nice to have like a close by nickel mine, more so than the need for more nickel. I do have some cliffs in the way, which is suboptimal. Something like out here, maybe? Yeah, perhaps out here. Additively there. I do like that I spawned in a really huge desert, so chopping down trees now that I can generate my own is no longer a problem. So tentatively out there, I've got a tiny little patch of water up there I might leverage, which would be great. And then, yeah, I can build that huge design. I think I'll talk you through it after I'm done building it, but it's got a few nice little tweaks that I'm proud of, as well as being in this kind of mostly rectangular shape, which is the obvious best shape for anything that you build in Factorio. If at least if you can't make it a square, like this iron processing setup is nearly square, so nearly the ideal shape. Although then you get too many squares and you end up with a block base and then it's super ugly. So in the future, I think I will probably aim for functional units that are kind of nicely rectangular, because I don't think I can build them hexagonally and have them look at all good, but then spread out the base in something that's sort of like functional spaghetti or the lasagna approach. We'll see. Right now, all I need to do is build for a big chunk of tree production. So I'm going to collect up all the buildings that I need for this, and I will talk to you in just a little bit. See you then. Okay, a brief speaking interlude. I have nowhere near enough resources to complete this thing, but I have enough to start. So I'm going to get to that. Maybe I'll talk you through it while I'm here working on it. So like the previous wood build, ooh, maybe I left some problems in here, some mistakes. Well, anyway, I'll see them as I go along, hopefully. So as I was saying, like the previous wood build, I am using one nursery to feed 2 tree farms. This is an exact ratio, which is pretty nice, and it means that spoilage is a little faster to deal with. I'm feeding 1 full belt of ash into this, and that will be fully consumed if these are going at full tilt. This is exactly enough moss farms to feed this system. This is produces a little bit more muddy sludge than I need. That's okay. I'm making my carbon dioxide on site, and I'm doing it using this recipe that turns wood into regular coal and then turns that regular coal into coke, and this produces a bit of excess coke, but that's okay. I don't want to run this full tilt anyway, partially because it uses up some of the wood that I'm creating, although the cost is not too bad, I'd say, for the amount of wood being created, and partially because it's going to output a fair amount of coal gas. So yeah, I think I just double stamped this build. That's the problem. It's not that the blueprint is messed up. So I will get rid of this and put it back down. But yeah, by doing that, there's 2 benefits. First is the build feels a little more self-contained, although it's actually not. It is going to need me to output... I didn't even delete all the ghosts. It's going to need me to output the fuel gases that process creates, and I'll have to send them off somewhere to get deleted, which right now can only be done by glass furnaces. And yeah, it also makes a very, very tiny amount of iron plate that I need to get rid of. So, you know, that's not the greatest, but it's okay. I think, yeah, let's go here. But what is nice is that it means that I don't have to depend on carbon dioxide coming in from someplace else, and I'm going to be needing to void these fuel gases in great amounts in the future anyway. The iron plate produced is so small, I could probably put it in a box and forget about this for 100 hours, and it might not even fill up. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Let's see, what else? Oh, one nice aspect of this build compared to the other version that uses raw coke. So let's compare it. I need 2 of these, and oh, I can't run rate calculator over them. And in sum total, these produce a lot more fuel gases, a lot more tar and coal gas than this process over here. And since right now I'm needing to void these rather than collect them up, it's much better for me. In fact, I might switch over my bootstrap base to use this process since I'm currently collecting a huge supply of wood that I'm not really doing anything with. But for now, yeah, I'm going to work on setting this up. It's going to take a little while. This is one of those builds that I think is more pretty, but somewhat fiddly than if I just laid out everything with completely straight belts and, you know, put it on the outside of everything. I mean, look at this mess. It works. I tested it. But, you know, like there's undergrounds hopping everywhere. I have to move the wood from this tree farm down to this belt that is taking it out, and then this tree farm is just spitting it out here, etc., etc. To be honest, this is the sort of build that I actually like doing. It feels a little more clever than just, you know, like a straight line of machines of one process slapped next to a straight line of machines of another process, etc. Kind of like the bus-based style, even if it's not on next to a bus. But they do take a little bit more construction time, so I'm really looking forward to having Blueprint Shotgun. I'll have that, you know, probably in 100 hours or so. We'll see. But once I have it, it'll make a difference and make me feel better about doing builds that I find a little more aesthetically pleasing, but maybe a little more construction difficult. I guess this makes me more of an architect than an engineer, but yeah, c'est la vie. Oh, another thing I will do is I'm going to take away some of these machines, put them out in Never Land so that I can actually see the pipes that I'm building. I didn't do that for some of the builds, and it probably meant that I missed some ghosts that would have been easy to spot if I had done it. But yeah, this makes it a little bit easier to build. Okay, I've rambled enough through what is going to be a fairly long construction process, so I will see you in a short period of time, I hope. Okay, so this build is mostly done. I'm missing, I think, 5 nurseries, for which I don't have enough iron plate, which I will rectify pretty soon. At the moment, yeah, my iron plate situation is usually the thing that's limiting me. Although I'm not too worried about it, I'm always finding new things to fix. For instance, I went and did that changeover to use the wood to coal versus the raw coal to coal recipe that I mentioned earlier in my main base, and also saw that my iron was struggling. The iron at the very edges was causing me problems. You may wonder why, hey, I've got this massive build of iron that I could produce. Why don't I just go ahead and use this? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, because I did other things. Second, I haven't really been limited. And third, I'm feeling like a lot of my builds for the automation science are going to work best in a state of flow. I might want to find out if they break when they're in a state where, you know, like things are backed up, but that'll be much more interesting to find out after I turn them on and my whole base falls apart. That's kind of the point of this whole series, if you hadn't noticed, to find out whether I mess up badly enough that things just fall apart. So, that said, I'm going to work on the next thing while I collect some stuff for nurseries. And the next thing for me is going to be setting up for wood. Stone to bricks. Stone to bricks, it sounds like it should be the easiest thing in the world. You throw them into a furnace, you get bricks. Well, early automation science probably struggle most in Pi hard mode. In regular Pi, not so much of a deal, but in Pi hard mode, early automation science, especially with the high tech multiplier, stone is the biggest struggle because it's hard to produce. You have to deal with that carbolic oil recipe early on, and then even once you get a better recipe for carbolic oil, you'll end up producing a ton of liquid fuels that you have to avoid and buffer, and etc., etc. So, what I'm trying to say is that stone is a problem, and even further on into automation science, stone continues to be a problem, and into Pi 1 and logistics science even, because at some points you're really short on stone, and then you start getting more stone, and you're like, yay, I'm getting more stone, but then you're getting too much stone, and you have to figure out how to avoid it, or you have to deal with, okay, well, I need to turn my pitch into stone, which is what this is set up for. As soon as I can get pitch into the system, I'll want to use that for getting stone, but I may not have enough, so I want to pass it to the furnaces anyway. And then eventually I'll get to the point where, oh, well, I've got lots of pitch, and I want to instead crush the bricks that I'm using. So, long story short, I would like a stone management area, and I think this space, you know, kind of up here should fit the bill, but I want to kind of make sure that I lock that off for stone. So I think I might just say, hey, let's build the biggest stone ghost I can, and kind of say this whole area, this is for stone stuff. Yeah, let's do something like that. All this will be for stone. I might not pave it with stone because, like I said, stone is precious, but I will at least save it for stone. So with that rambling done, I want 2 of these. Do I want to fit them sideways like this? Or, yeah, maybe I'll fit them sideways like this. And I'll flip it for the aesthetics. What these are going to do, and this is slightly me planning ahead, this is going to take stone in. If I've got pitch, which the next tech will let me get pitch into the system, so I'm not planning that far ahead, it will turn the stone into bricks using the pitch recipe, which is only 5 stone to 8 bricks, which is a much better savings than 8 stone. Sorry. Yeah, this is 8 stone to 5 bricks. Sorry. This is 8 stone to 4 bricks. So, yeah, just definitely worse. 5 to, what is it? Let's double check because I'm rambling. 5 stone, 4 bricks. That's correct. And this would be 8 stone, 4 bricks. So it saves you about 37.5%. I can math. I promise. I'm not an idiot. I only play one on TV for your amusement. So yeah, this and I'm not going to build most of this. I'm just going to build the part that leads straight to the furnaces. There's a little bit of nice trickery here where I say, okay, wait till you have this area kind of like backs up on stone. Maybe I'll move this actually slightly. Why did this not work? Because inserters can be slow sometimes, so you kind of want to say, well, you know, like, don't swing until it's just not working. What I want is you rotated down like that. Sometimes at the end of the chain, because this will consume a full belt of stone, but the end of the chain, even though this could be consuming this stone, it's going to let some of it pass. So I'd rather, you know, like force the belt to almost fill up before I pass it down to the system down here. So, and then, you know, like it's going to pass it to furnaces. And the only interesting bit here is I'm going to, rather than, as I've often done, extract both the ash and the product at the same time and then filter out the ash later, I'm going to extract the ash onto a separate lane. And that's primarily because stone can very easily pile up, because it can stack to 1,000 and ash can stack to 1,000. So what you can have is a situation where you've got a massive buffer of stone just in the furnaces, and then, you know, like a massive buffer of ash, and that's not the greatest thing in the world. And, you know, so your system can kind of burp. Yeah, that's the technical term for it, by the way, burping. No, I just made it up right now. Pardon me. I'm just telling you lies constantly. Anyway, so yeah, I'll build this out, and I will probably hook up my current iron supply so I can get some iron out of that process iron build. Because yeah, I'm getting more short on resources than I really want to be. Anyway, I'll build this, and I will come back in a short period of time, and you can see what happens when I try and turn this on. Okay, so that's finished. This is working. It's letting the stone through, even though it's you know, like this gate is here. These furnaces are working. I'm stealing a little bit of the coal off the end of this line. It can provide up to each of these lanes can have 7.5 coal being sent down. It's only going to use 4.8 per second for just the furnaces that are there. So yeah, that means that there's just enough coal for me to also run these furnace stacks. Now, I have not gone ahead and dealt with the ash here, which I'm going to do. But for right now, I just wanted to get this going. And I guess I will set up a little bit of iron theft right here. Just so I have, you know, like a little buffer sitting waiting for me when I need to go and build something. Not going to be a lot. Probably maybe I should take it down eventually. But for right now, it'll just give me a little boost when I'm running out low on iron. So this is going to provide me with a decent amount of bricks. One lane can turn into just a half lane of bricks, so that's why I'm outputting it into just this half lane when it's using the furnace system. When it's using the high temperature furnace as with the pitch, it'll provide me more than that, but for right now I cannot depend on that. So 1 full lane of bricks it's going to be. And in fact, I don't even get that much from this system up here. It's only going to give me, each of those will only provide 12 bricks per second. Still, that's pretty nice compared to what I had before. So I'm going to move on to the next step. And the next step is to make planters boxes and full planters boxes. Now the question is, where do I want to set this up? So this might be convenient over here, but I've got the wood placed there, and I'm going to need some ash coming in. I could also set it up over here, maybe. I think I probably will want to set it up over here. Like this place over here might be good for some more steam production or whatever I want to use the rest of this raw coal from. In fact, I might want to grab some extra raw coal here. It's a good question. Yeah, in general, in Pi, when you are in doubt, leave yourself more space than you think you need, and then leave yourself even more space. Eventually, I might want to run like a train line through here, and I haven't really left the space out for it. In fact, I want to like figure out where a good place to cross with the train line and make kind of an X is, at least as the starter area. So yeah, I need to plan ahead for that as well. So that said, with that dithering done, I think, yeah, let's go here for the for my planters boxes, empty planters boxes. This build will just need a bunch of wood coming in. Well, let's look at the recipe. Bricks, obviously. I need a ton of bricks. That's why I'm making a ton of bricks. I will need wood. I'm making the logs down there. I need a small amount of iron. Great. I've got iron that I will figure out how to get over here. And that's about it. And this should make me 4 empty planters boxes per second. I'll set this up. And I'm also going to want to, at the same time, probably set up my full planters boxes, which is where the ash will come in. Full planters boxes. This needs water, which is going to be great because I've got water right here to make soil. It'll need a bunch of ash that I'm going to pipe in through here. Let's look at the recipe. Going to need the empty planters boxes, and that's about it. I think this, the way I had set these builds up was that this needs, will produce, these 4 assemblers will produce twice as many empty planters boxes as these will consume, so I need 2 of those. So let's flip it for aesthetic purposes. Something like this, maybe. How do I want to fit these in? Despite the fact that I said, you know, like, hey, you should always leave yourself twice as much space as you actually need, I still like to cram things together when they're kind of like the same unit. So because this is, you know, like, I'm not going to try and like fit more production for this same stuff without copying all of these builds. I might as well, like, you know, kind of just shove them all together. Something like this. Okay, I'm gonna go build this and also maybe think about whether this is the greatest plan ever or it sucks, and maybe move it around a little bit. This seems like an awful lot of like, okay, build that. Oh, this is what I could do. I could figure out where I'm gonna build my small parts. this is my small parts blueprint. Build this, I need a fair amount of iron. I'm also going to have to do copper. I'm not sure I'm going to get copper mining this episode, but yeah, something like that. I also know that I will never expand this iron build. You know why? Because I'm never going to have more iron in this location, and if I go mine iron someplace else, I'll build an iron build over there, or I'll pipe the iron ore down here, one or the other, with, you know, like hopefully caravans someday. So yeah, maybe up here is actually the best solution. So I can, oops, I will stack these like so. They pass their materials through. So, you know, like they're built to be tiled like this. This would ordinarily produce way more small parts than I could shove through this system. On the other hand, the machines are slow because the inserters are slow. So, yeah, I have to build extra. So, if I build that there, wow, this is a lot of rambling. I could grab this and maybe build it kind of here and violate my rule about the stone area. Move this around a little bit. Where did I end up? That was silly. So we'll have to pull in copper, so it's okay that this is a little higher. Okay. Now, after all this rambling, which has incidentally let me build up some iron plates in various places, so, you know, like, it was useful. There was a purpose. It wasn't me just dithering. Now I think, you know, hey, this looks like a pretty good setup. And if I need more, I will just copy it kind of like off down here, and everything will be hunky-dory. Maybe just a little more space. Space is free. I shouldn't treat it like a finite resource, except it kind of is a finite resource. Not because, you know, like, you can't get more of it, but because the further things are apart, the more expensive it is to move the logistics around, not just in terms of like, okay, I need more trains, I need more belts, blah, 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 but also because all that extra distance actually costs UPS, so it eventually will slow down your computer. And again, hopefully by the time I need to worry about UPS, I will have rebuilt everything and made it cooler and better, and yeah. Okay. I'm good. This is going to be good. This is where I'm at right now. I'm going to come back and build all of this, and you can stop being forced to listen to me talk nonsense. Back in a little bit. Okay, this is built but not turned on. It needs quite a few things to come into it to get it going. As you can see with a lot of this build, it's all about maximizing inserter throughput, and direct insertion. So these guys will directly insert soil into this because it needs 2.5 per second. So yeah, it won't quite keep up, but it'll produce a good amount. And I don't really want to try and force more into there from even another belt. So this is going to be plenty. Also, the inserters will barely keep up with what I'm putting in because it needs 4.5 ash per second. So it's going to eat like a full lane of ash regardless. As before, the small parts is virtually surrounded by inserters pulling in and out of it, and to maximize the throughput that the small parts can create. Basically the same thing with the planters boxes, just, tossing in as much wood and stone as possible, even doing this to kind of like force extra stone in there. And I have an idea what to do here, because this build can use up a little bit more stone than it produces. I might grab the stone that, well, why wait? I might grab the stone that I've already produced and kind of like shove it in here and produce a little extra science with it, since I'm piling it up at the starter base. So, what else do I want to do? I think I'm mostly good for this episode, except I would really like this wood production to get started. I'm not actually 100% sure that I'd produce enough wood here, so I would love to get it started, see it validated, which means that I need to get rid of the liquid fuels that I have. So I will make a little glass build someplace close by. I do notice that I have a quartz patch right next door, and in fact, so I didn't need to create this long belt to bring it in from up here. Instead, I could have just mined it here. That's okay. More quartz is better. I'm going to use up a lot of it in the future. And yeah, I'm going to put that together. I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, but another reason that I don't want to kick everything off and kind of like see it run piecemeal, besides the fact that it's kind of flow based rather than like something that I want to see back up everywhere and then watch it unchug, is that I would like the drama of starting it all up, sea steins start going, and then, like, once that starts going, I'm going to go into hands-off mode, which is kind of like the promised challenge build, and see if I've managed to successfully figure out how to not crash the base over the course of the subsequent 2 hours of dead time. And if it does crash, well, Sylvie, I will stop the thing there. I'm probably going to start a a box here with deconstruction planners or something in them, like here. Can I name these? Yeah, I can name deconstruction planner, like fail, and I'll put in like fail 1 at like 14 hours or something like that. And yeah, go into my inventory. Fail 1. Can I label it? Might use blueprints or something like that. Make a blueprint book of failures. But yeah, that's the plan. A box of fail, the true fail box, not just like your pistols and stuff. I suppose that would count, but I'm not playing with biters, so I hopefully will not get run over by trains too much. And I don't have a pistol on me. I'm not sure I respawn with one at all. Okay, rambling time over. Creating crystal mines and glassworks next. Always remember to put a couple more steam engines into my inventory. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Kick off the log build, and that'll probably be it for this episode for me. So let me go do that, and as always, I'll be back soon. Okay then, that's set up. This is going to be massive overkill for what I'm producing now and massive underkill for what I'm going to be producing in the future. So with those two things combined, it's the absolute wrong build to do, but that's what happens sometimes. Yeah, are you going to produce? I might need to kick this off with a little bit more logs because I need to get this build going. Because the moss does not want to moss because it spreads the carbon dioxide out. Like, it's almost there, but not quite. Let me go grab a few more logs because I would like to see that running. Should have done that earlier, but you know, that's okay. I do notice that I'm not producing enough logs back in my starter base, so probably during the next Fix-It episode, I'm going to figure out how many more I need to run that Coke build at full tilt. I mean, it's okay that I'm not producing a ton of extra logs because, you know, like, I don't really want to have, like, a ton of extra logs just sitting around, but I would like to have a few extra being made, and I would also continue to like to build steel as fast as I possibly could. Let's, wow, you can take 500 all at once. Okay, great. So I'm gonna make absolutely sure, no, if 500 logs don't kick this thing off, then I've broken something, and I should really rethink my life choices. Okay, let's get rid of this one moss. The nice part is that the moss is blocked, so I wasn't, like, wasting seedlings. And moss is starting to run, which is great. I think I've filled up all the modules. Yes, that should work well. This is voided. This is voided. I've got some ash coming in from the stone builds, but because the iron here is blocked, it's not really enough ash. Might just throw the ash that I've got into at least a couple of these tree builds, so that will run full tilt when it gets the chance. I do need to bring in more ash from the various parts of my base. I don't necessarily want to set up like a dedicated ash line, but I will have to make sure that ash is guaranteed to come into the system, because, you know, like, otherwise it'll all get blocked up. What I'm thinking next time is to take the ash that is coming out of the iron processing, and also to take some of the ash that is being made by all these iron mines, and because these have to run to run my automation science build at all, these should be producing ash, so you know, like, that's no problem. Oh, I get to spot a problem, you know, like, even just walking by, I will see something going on, so, like, hey, great. I think I want to be done with this episode, though. I'm pretty happy with what I've managed to build so far, and I think next episode, assuming that I find some bioreserve to tap for it, we're going to get to automation science at scale. So look forward to episode 11, which should have really been episode 10 for the round numberness, but instead, episode 11, automation science, guaranteed. Put a stamp on it, that's for sure. See you next time.